Have you ever wondered why some men suddenly pull away, go silent, or act distant for no clear reason? It's often not about you, it's about their ego. Many women unknowingly fall into the trap of chasing, over-explaining, or trying to fix things only to feel more confused and hurt. The truth is, the way you respond to a man's ego can either make or break the relationship. In this video, I'm going to reveal the hidden truth about male ego, why it shows up, and how you, as a high-value woman, can respond with power, grace, and confidence. The male ego is a deeply rooted psychological aspect that influences how many men perceive themselves and how they interact in relationships. At its core, the ego is tied to a man's sense of identity, pride, and self-worth. Unlike women, who are often more comfortable expressing emotions and vulnerabilities, many men are conditioned through society, culture, or upbringing to associate their value with strength, respect, and control. This is why when a man's ego feels threatened, whether by criticism, rejection, or perceived disrespect, he may react defensively, withdraw emotionally, or even act out. For women, understanding this doesn't mean tolerating bad behavior or becoming submissive. Instead, it's about responding wisely and maintaining emotional balance. When a woman recognizes that some of his reactions are ego-driven, not necessarily a reflection of his true feelings, she can avoid taking things personally or reacting impulsively. It's important to communicate with respect, avoid public humiliation, and choose the right moments to address sensitive topics. At the same time, women should never compromise their own dignity to protect a fragile ego. A high-value woman sets boundaries calmly and confidently, knowing that a mature man will respect her strength. A key strategy is to avoid direct attacks on his character. Instead, focus on behaviors and how they affect the relationship. When a woman remains centered and unshaken, she teaches the man that she won't be controlled by ego-driven drama but is willing to engage in meaningful dialogue. When both parties are calm, ultimately, the goal is mutual respect, where both partners can grow beyond ego and build genuine emotional intimacy. Understanding how male ego works is not about manipulation, it's about creating a space where love, not pride, leads the way. One of the most frustrating behaviors a woman can face in a relationship is the silent treatment. When a man goes quiet, withdraws emotionally, or stops communicating, it's often tied to his ego, pride, or inability to process emotions in the moment. Many women, out of fear, love, or anxiety, instinctively chase calling, texting, apologizing, or over-explaining, thinking it will fix the situation. But this reaction usually backfires, feeding his ego and reinforcing the idea that he holds the power in the relationship. The silent treatment is sometimes a manipulative tactic to regain control or punish without confrontation. Other times, it's a man's way of coping when his emotions overwhelm him. Regardless of the reason, the healthiest way for a woman to respond is with calm detachment and self-respect. This means resisting the urge to chase, explain, or beg for attention. Instead, she should focus on her own life, maintain her emotional stability, and give him the space to process his thoughts. By not reacting to the silence, a woman sends a powerful message. Her peace doesn't depend on someone else's moods. This balanced response often inspires a man to reflect on his behavior, especially when he realizes that she values herself enough not to tolerate emotional games. When he does return, it's important to communicate openly about how the silent treatment affects the relationship and establish clear boundaries for future disagreements. Handling the silent treatment with strength and dignity not only protects a woman's emotional well-being but also sets the tone for a healthier, more mature connection. True love grows where respect and communication exist, not where one partner uses silence as a weapon. In many relationships, women unintentionally feed a man's ego by overgiving, over-explaining, or over-pursuing. This often creates an imbalance, where the man feels in control while the woman constantly seeks validation. To avoid falling into this dynamic, it's essential for women to respond in ways that maintain self-respect, emotional control, and dignity. The first key response is silence over reaction. When faced with disrespect or emotional withdrawal, staying calm and silent is often more powerful than emotional outbursts. It shows strength and emotional maturity, which naturally commands respect. The second is graceful detachment. Instead of clinging or chasing, a high-value woman maintains her independence and focuses on her life, goals, and happiness. This quiet confidence makes her more attractive and prevents a man's ego from gaining the upper hand. The third response is setting clear boundaries without aggression. A woman should communicate her limits calmly, what she will and won't tolerate. Boundaries are not ultimatums. They are expressions of self-worth. The fourth is choosing when to engage and when to disengage. Not every comment or behavior deserves a reaction. Sometimes walking away or not giving attention to small provocations disarms an inflated ego. The fifth is consistency. A woman must stand firm in her words and actions. Mixed signals only confuse the dynamic and give room for manipulation. By mastering these 5 responses, a woman maintains her power without being confrontational. She communicates that her love is a choice, not a need, and that respect is non-negotiable. This approach doesn't just keep her in control, it inspires healthier, more balanced relationships where both partners can thrive. One of the most confusing and painful moments in a relationship is when a man suddenly pulls away without clear explanation. This behavior often stems from a bruised ego rather than a lack of love or interest. Men, by nature or conditioning, tie their sense of self-worth to their ability to feel respected, admired, and valued. When something, whether intentional or unintentional, triggers their insecurities, they may retreat emotionally to protect their pride. Common triggers include feeling criticized, disrespected, compared to others, or not appreciated. Instead of communicating openly, some men respond by withdrawing, going silent, or creating distance. For women, this behavior can feel like rejection, causing panic or the urge to chase, which unfortunately often worsens the situation by making him feel even more suffocated or defensive. The most powerful way to respond is with calm patience and emotional stability. Instead of chasing, questioning, or demanding explanations, a woman should allow space for the man to process his emotions. During this time, focusing on her own well-being, staying positive, and maintaining her independence sends a strong, silent message. She values herself and won't allow someone else's emotional turbulence to shake her foundation. When the man re-engages, it's essential to have an open but non-confrontational conversation about emotional needs, boundaries, and healthy communication. It's also crucial for the woman to observe if this behavior is a one-time issue or a toxic pattern. A mature relationship is built on respect, not power games. By refusing to panic or chase when a man's ego leads him to withdraw, a woman not only protects her self-worth but also encourages emotional growth in her partner. Responding with grace, not fear, is the key to maintaining both dignity and love. Setting boundaries is essential in any healthy relationship, but many women fear that doing so might hurt a man's ego or push him away. The truth is, boundaries are not walls, they are guidelines that teach others how to treat us with respect. The key is to express boundaries in a way that is both firm and kind, so that they protect your self-worth without unnecessarily triggering his pride. A man's ego is often sensitive to criticism, control, or anything that makes him feel less than. So, when setting boundaries, it's important to communicate them with calm confidence rather than anger or frustration. Using I statements instead of you statements can prevent him from feeling attacked. For example, instead of saying, "You never listen to me," say, "I feel unheard when I'm interrupted, and I would appreciate being able to finish my thoughts." Timing also matters. Avoid setting boundaries in the heat of an argument when emotions are high. Instead, choose calm, neutral moments where both of you can talk openly. Express the boundary as something that is about your own needs, not as a way to control or punish him. It's also crucial to stay consistent. If you state a boundary but allow it to be crossed repeatedly, it sends mixed signals and encourages disrespect. Hold to your words with quiet strength. When done right, setting boundaries actually increases a man's respect for you because it shows self-respect and emotional maturity. Remember, a good man will appreciate a woman who knows her worth. Setting boundaries doesn't have to bruise his ego. It can, in fact, create the foundation for a deeper, more balanced connection where both partners feel valued and heard.